Stay tuned till the end to check out my first ever giveaway. So in this CitizenCon, they introduced 3 new ships, 4 or 5 if you consider some of the other vehicles that were introduced as well that I'll get into later. But first off, the Spirit lineup from Crusader. They've got the C1, the A1, and the E1, all at various price points. They're currently available for Concept and Warbond. However, there's no CCU Warbonds available for these ships yet, which is kind of a bummer. But there are Concept and Warbond available if you just buy the ship outright. So there's a little bit of savings, but nothing that you can put into a CCU chain. They specifically called out the Freelancer series and the Cuddy series as being direct competitors to these new ships. So the C1 is the cargo ship. It's basically got a cargo hold in the back, and that's about it. It's like a smaller MSR. They said it could fit the Ursa rover, so it's got that kind of a hangar in the back. The A1 bomber is next up. It looks to have 10 size 5 bombs in the rear. It's smaller, faster version of the A2 Herc. It's got less cargo space in the back, of course. It's taken up by all the bomb bays, and that's what it is. It's a much lighter, faster bomber. The E1 Executive is a little bit different. It really seems to compare more like a bigger kind of 400i executive travel ship, which is very strange. It's split into 2 levels with a bar up front in the module and a large panoramic glass roof on this thing. So they're really talking about it being the luxury liner. It's quite a bit smaller than what the Starliner will eventually be, I'm sure. But it seems like a quick means of transportation for the uber wealthy or something. Still seems kind of cool. I'm very interested to see all the weapon loadouts for all these ships and how they compare. And if the bomber's going to have turrets or something, I'd like to know that as well. It's interesting concept. Again, it's competing against the Freelancer and the Cuddy series in some capacities. That's what they compared it to anyway. But, you know, Crusader's known for being faster, more maneuverable ships for their size and weight class. So clearly they're going to have some advantages over the other ships, especially the Freelancer series as far as handling is concerned. Yeah, I mean, I think they look pretty cool overall. And they do have some shared space, I guess. And the module is the rear of the vehicle. They said the rear of the vehicle is what really changes between all 3 ships. The cockpit seems to be similar enough to the MSR that anybody who owns that ship, they'll fit right in. They'll know exactly what's going on when they get up there. The C1 is $110 retail and $100 Warbond. The E1 is $150 retail, but $135 Warbond. And the A1 is $175 retail with $155 Warbond. So after all that, what do I actually think about this new lineup from Crusader? I think they're pretty cool. You know, the pictures, I'm not sure are doing these ships any justice because it looks like they're massive. But when you break it down with the information that we have anyway, it appears that the C1, right, the cargo hauling variant that's supposed to compete with the Cuddy Black and the Freelancer, it's actually 2.5 meters shorter than the Cuddy Black. Its width is about 1.5 meters shorter than the Cuddy Black, but it's a little bit taller than the Cuddy Black. It's about 3.5, 4 meters taller than the Cuddy Black. Cargo capacity is 48 SCU, so it's more than the Cuddy Black, but less than the Freelancer. I can live with that. Max cruise 2. We don't have any speed or performance data yet on these ships. Clearly, they're just in the concept phase. But I mean, it's a Crusader, and it's a medium Crusader that's smaller than the MSR. So it's probably going to handle better than the counterparts, the Freelancer. I mean, it's got to handle better than the Freelancer, right? Like it's got to be a given on this one. And the Cuddy Black. And it's probably going to be quicker than both as well. Although the Afterburner might not be as quick as a Cuddy Black, because that's kind of where some of the Drake vehicles excel. So it looks like it's only going to have one medium shield, which does compare directly with the Cuddy Black, but it's half of what the Freelancer has. Who knows what happens with balance in the future there. It's basically got medium-sized components, and one of them, and we don't know any kind of armor that would be on this Crusader, any of these Crusader ships. It looks like 4 size 3s, 2 size 3 fixed and 2 size 2 gimbals, it appears, and 16 size 3 missiles. So it's got significantly more missiles than the Cuddy Black, a little bit more cargo space, and basically the same kind of firepower minus a turret. In the rear, it fits everything that the Cuddy Black would fit, although they did say it could also fit an Ursa rover, which is, well, it's a little bit bigger. So the bay is probably going to be similar in shape, maybe not quite the size, but the shape of and should fit an Ursa rover. It's also supposed to come with a tractor beam whenever those are implemented. The Cutlass Black is listed as having one of those as well. The Freelancer's not noted as having one, but when those actually are implemented, we'll see which ships actually have one that functions. So, all right. So overall, I mean, I think these are pretty cool ships. I like the idea of a smaller freighter than the MSR from Crusader. I do like the idea. We'll see how they put it into practice. The A1 bomber is kind of a unique choice too, because it's going to be the size of an Eclipse almost. It won't be a torpedo bomber though. It's strictly a bomber. We don't have missile information yet, so look, it may have a variable loadout too, but it looks like the rear section, kind of like a module, I guess, is the rear part is like a module on these ships, right? That's what changes. So the rear section is really just for bombs. You can see it it's set up for 10 size 5 bombs specifically. I think they called them out as gravity bombs or something to that effect. So they use gravity. They're not missile. They're not propelled. So maybe in the future they'll have some sort of a missile gantry that can be, switched out for that bomb area in the rear, but they didn't mention anything like that in CitizenCon, so we'll see. And then the E1 executive transport, I don't know. I mean, these kinds of ships, I know they have their place, or they will have their place rather, in the future with human transport missions and or NPC transport missions. It seems like a small, much more agile 400i competitor than it does than any of the Freelancers or any of the Cuddies. I did post on Reddit a link to the loaner matrix for each of the Spirits. Again, these are concept vehicles. They are not ready to fly yet. The Spirit A1 gets a Freelancer MIS. The Spirit C1 is going to get a Cutlass Black as a loaner, and the Spirit E1 gets a Cutlass Steel. I really didn't think that was the right choice. I really think it should have been a 400i. 400i makes way more sense. But I don't know. I'm not the guy that makes the decisions, right? That'd be cool if I was, though. Overall, I think you can make a compelling argument for any of these ships. Their price points, well, that's up to you to decide. And it's a kind of a bummer that there's no CCU chains available to them, because I can see a lot of people going from the Cutlass Black specifically to the C1 in the future. It does make sense, at least, again, on paper. We'll have to get these ships in our hands to actually put them through their paces. But until then, that's all I have to say. I think you can make a compelling argument for all of them. Not sure I can convey how unbelievably excited I am that the Corsair is going to make it into 318 by the end of the year, and what kind of sounds like T0 exploration as well, which is friggin' awesome. At one point in CitizenCon, they did go over some of this, but they were actually talking about the QT drive changes. I'll get into that in another video. This is not the right place for it, but during that discussion, it actually sounded like T0 exploration might be in game, which is perfect timing because, well, the Corsair has been confirmed for 318. I actually own this ship. Well, I own a CCU chain to the ship. I have a Connie as a loaner at this point. But anyway, a lot of new information about the ship. They showed the cockpit, the co-pilot and pilot seats. Really cool layout. The seating arrangement starts off very similar to the Cuddy Black, but the co-pilot actually drops down into a second level and then moves forward into kind of a front turret control area, which is really cool. So the co-pilot sits underneath the pilot in a weird way, but it looks like it's got really good visibility. The ship's got quarters for everybody. It's got a mess hall. It's got a ridiculous amount of firepower. That was confirmed again by the developers during CITEZENCON. And it's an exploration ship, right? It's a bare bones exploration ship with a ridiculous amount of firepower, really good cargo capacity for its size. We'll see about all the performance metrics when it actually comes out in 3.18. Well, my guess is we'll probably get some of that information before 3.18 through some leaks in the PTU, but I can't wait. Looks like it's got a centralized area where all the components are internally, so they'd be easy to change out. It is Drake, so of course you're going to have to change those out. I think that's kind of the plan. But yeah, tons of space and cargo, an elevator that goes up to the roof and all the way down to the ground. Looks like they made it intentionally so you could EVA out the top or the bottom, which is kind of cool. As promised, it's got an airlock on the side. It's got a big hangar. You can obviously fit an Ursa in it. Can't wait for this ship. Very, very excited. I've waited quite a while. I forget when the original concept art came out for this thing, but anyway, 3.18, it's coming. The newest addition to the PU is a ground vehicle, the Greycat STV. It's a purpose-built racing buggy with seating for two. It has a storage compartment in the back, which is separate from a little box rack that it actually fits two boxes securely. You click a little button on the rear to access both of those storage areas. Again, this thing is purpose-built for racing, so it handles really well. It doesn't have the kind of ground clearance or wheel size as some of the other off-road vehicles. There's also a rumored other version called the Greycat UTV, which will be released in the future. They've already said it will be. They actually show a picture of it here. It'll be more of a off-road, rugged, military type excursion vehicle. It's kind of purpose-built as well because they built it as if a racing company built this thing that was, gearing it towards off-road racing. The other thing they mention is it's on and off-road racer. So we'll see what kind of customization comes in the future. I have had a little bit of time behind the wheel, but not a significant amount. And I haven't been able to compare it to any of the other ground vehicles. I'll probably do a separate review. It does seem pretty quick, but it's not. It seems like with the changes to the ground vehicles, it reacts appropriately for a ground vehicle. It's far less accelerate and jump that I'm used to from some of the ground vehicles of the past. It absolutely still catches air in low gravity, but it does seem more responsive. And my assumption is that most of the other ground vehicles are going to do the same thing when I get to test them out later on. This year, SIG has decided to let all of us citizens choose which manufacturer they're going to make a ship for. Now, they already know what kind of ship they're going to make. They're going to make a large mining vessel that fits in between the Mole and the Orion. So it's probably going to be a very large multi-crew ship, but not to the capacity or stature of the Orion. So the gist is we get to pick whether it's going to be a MISC ship, an Argo ship, or an RSI ship. I'll put a link below so you know where to go to cast your vote. As it is with most YouTubers, I'm trying to get monetized. In honor of that goal, I'm launching the Help the Channel Get Monetized giveaway. As of today, we've only hit about 10% of the subscriber goal and 25% of the watch goal for monetization on YouTube. When the goal is reached, I'll compile a list of all the subscribers that have left a comment on any video and choose a random winner. Pretty simple. Ideally, after monetization, I want to be able to give away a ship every month, so this isn't going to be a one-and-done giveaway kind of thing. For our very first Help the Channel Get Monetized giveaway, the winner is going to get a Spirit C1. For this video, leave a comment that mentions why the C1 is better, or worse, I guess, than the Freelancer or Cutlass Black. That's all you got to do, and you'll be entered to win. So that's it. Along with subscribing, that's all you have to do. Just leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching the video, and good luck in winning your C1.